call the meeting to order. There we go. I'll move this here. There, I guess. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We do have a quorum. All three commissioners are present. And Steve Skinner, would you like to lead us in the flag salute this morning? I didn't pre-plan it. I don't know what I would have done if you'd have said no, so I appreciate it. So.
Has anybody said no to you before?
No? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. More than a few times, but not here in this one. Okay, at this time, public comment. No public comment? Okay.
I move to approve the notice items, Resolution 17-210 and Resolution 17-211.
Second.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin speaking to Resolution 17-210. Notice of a public hearing to discuss a change to Roundtree Road. The public hearing will be held on or after 10 a.m. August 28, 2017 in the Commissioners' hearing room. So this resolution actually has two actions. One is to accept and find appropriate the engineer's report for a realignment of Roundtree Road, and then also to set the hearing date. So we'll talk a lot more about what's in the report and the reasons why we had to do this at the hearing, but I'll just give you a quick overview of what's in the engineer's report. There are three main points. One is that it was necessary to reestablish the alignment of Roundtree Road due to continuous movement and erosion of the Chehalis River. Second point is that all the right-of-way needed for this change has been conveyed to Lewis County by deed. And third is that the change in Roundtree has been constructed according to our road standards and inspected by Public Works staff and found acceptable.
Do you want to pull the map up?
Sure, yeah, let's pull the map up. So this is a survey, and it's got a lot of different colors and lines on it and things, so I'll try to explain it as briefly as possible here. So if you see the vertical blue line, that is the westerly limits of the new right-of-way. And then the dashed red line to the right of that is the new center line. So the blue hatched areas there to the south and up at the north end are the new right-of-way acquisitions that were needed. And that one at the north there is an area where we built a cul-de-sac turnaround for this road. So then the dashed green lines east of there are the old right-of-way, where the road was here just a couple years ago. And then, just for reference sake, the hatched red that kind of goes out towards the east there is an old right-of-way that was vacated quite a while ago that actually I think used to contain a bridge across the Chehalis River. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, speaking on the next agenda item, which is a notice of hearing. And so this particular notice is setting the hearing date to consider draft ordinance 1276. And the ordinance will amend the Lewis County Code Chapter 1505. This is the building code chapter. So essentially what we'll talk about during the hearing is revising the building code to adopt the state building code, which is a 2015 action and code. Any questions?
And I think some of the questions we've asked already is, and you indicated that most of the contractors are already using the current code. Is that correct? correct, or am I?
Right, the building code councils of Washington start way in advance. So when I say that they took it's a 2015 code, in advance of that, there are outreach opportunities to talk about the new codes that are being proposed at a statewide level. And so at that point, the contractors and architects and engineer become aware of changes that are occurring and are involved in the statewide adoption, generally involved in the statewide adoption if they have comments.
And Doyle, when you were in here in the office, Doyle indicated that a lot of them are energy code, or some of them are, not all of them, but some of them are energy code type things.
The last few updates to the state building code have been focused on energy code, so trying to make buildings more energy efficient has been the emphasis for many updates.
And I am not a building code expert, nor am I a contractor, but we always hear about putting unnecessary things, unnecessary codes that will impact Lewis County builders or other builders. So, and I think that you and Doyle did a very good job explaining that this is just procedural stuff right now. So I appreciate that.
Great, you're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll be back at the hearing with more information if you have them.
And we
Okay.
encourage folks to come to that hearing, so if they have
Yes.
concerns or comments, that we need to hear from them. And if they can't be here in person, send them in. So we're really encouraging people to make that effort.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So a motion has been made and second to approve notice items, resolutions, two of them, Resolution 17-210 and then 17-211. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I move that we approve the consent items, approval of minutes, and Resolution 17-212.
Good morning, Commissioner. Suzette Smith, Chief Accountant, Auditor's Office, here to present to
Second.
you. Sorry.
There we go.
You're just looking at all these numbers already.
You just started and I honed in.
I have a very busy day. Sorry. Let me try again. Suzette Smith, Chief Accountant, Auditor's Office, here to present to you Resolution number 17-212. This is the weekly approval of warrants against the various claims of the departments. Last week, we issued 251 regular warrants from July 14th to the 20th, number 773090 through 773166, and 773523 through 773696. In addition, we had a payroll draw day on July 20th. 235 warrants were issued, numbers 773288 through 773522, for a total of $261,755. And I apologize, I forgot to mention the regular warrant total. That was $1,314,382.02. In addition, we note the following warrants that were issued on behalf of the special purpose districts. Those are numbers 773167 and 7 through 773287. They are listed as a skip in sequence. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette.
Now go back to work.
She's always on. She's always on.
The motion is made and second to approve the consent items, which are approve the minutes for the July 17th, 2017 meeting, and also Resolution 17-212, approval of warrants. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I move to approve the deliberation items, resolutions 17-213 through 17-218.
Second?
Good morning, Danette York, Director of Public Health and Social Services, and I'm speaking on resolution number 17-213. This is approving a contract with the State Department of Social and Health Services, or DSHS, the Developmental Disabilities Administration. This is the state contract that we receive from DSHS for our developmental disabilities program. It's started July 1st, 2017, and goes through June 30th of 2018. The amount is $863,915. and you will see subcontracts come through where we subcontract that out to county providers that provide these services.
As I usually do, I always say, okay, how come this is saying July 1 and we're at the end of July?
Well, typically, DSHS is a little late on getting their contracts to us anyway, but this year was even worse because of the delay in finalizing the budget. At the state level, we couldn't get any contracts from any of our state agencies until the budget was complete, which we all know was very late on the last day of June. And so they had to then start preparing their contracts, and we'll start seeing them roll in now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next one is a resolution to approve a grant agreement between Lewis County and Lewis County EDC to exempt funding from the Distressed Counties Fund for public facilities serving economic development. And I see we have a member of the IPAT board with us today. Tim, are you here for this particular item? No, I just asking if you were here, because this money will be going to IPAT to continue there, and we look forward to future development out there. Can you Mr. Browning, former mayor of Centralia and current board member of IPAT.
Well, as we all know, it takes a long time to get these very complicated and large projects in shape. And this is just the next step in the progression of getting major commitments out at the industrial park. We're pleased that we have advanced to the point that we have one site that is completely now available, one site that has utilities available to us, and the availability to extend those services into the other sites. We are in negotiation with several people. You never know for sure whether they're for real or not, and you don't know who they are really anyway. And as my old dad used to say, until the check cashes the bank, you don't know for sure you got a deal. But this gives us an opportunity to further extend the operation out there. And I personally think that we now are in a position that probably in the next 12 months or so, you're going to see a couple of major announcements out there. So, just for the record, we're not, the IPAT board is absolutely committed to get high investment dollars out there. We've turned down numbers of projects that brought in low-income jobs. We're not interested in doing that with this very valuable property. So it might take a little longer to fill up, but when we fill it up, it'll be filled up with really first-class jobs. So I think it's a great opportunity, and opportunity for us to replace that huge tax revenue out there that we've lost with the closure of the mine out there. So thank you very much.
Thank you for being
sir.
here today. And thank you for your efforts in getting
Keep
really
going.
good jobs for our folks here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And speaking on deliberation item number 3, Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, Resolution 17215. And so this is the resolution to restrict outdoor burning throughout unincorporated Lewis County. The burn restrictions actually went into place last week and have been in place. And so this resolution would just ratify that action. Any questions?
Can you tell us how you arrived at requesting a burn ban?
Right, so starting each year as the weather conditions start to improve, we'll monitor the weather, we'll start to monitor moisture readings throughout the county. In this particular case, we started late June with the monitoring. The moisture levels were in the 40% range, and they quickly dropped to around 8 and 9% throughout the county. So that's one way in which we monitor conditions. We also check what's called the RAS data, and then we also look at weather predictions and forecasts. Along with, when we start to notice a drastic change in our data, we reach out to the fire chiefs to see what they're seeing in their respective districts and ask for their input as well. And they returned a unanimous decision for us to proceed with restricting burning. So, but we do still allow campfires. and approved campfire rings.
And this is only unincorporated Lewis County.
That's correct. However, in the cities and the urban growth areas, outdoor burning has always been restricted and prohibited. Any other questions?
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Morning, Commissioners. Steve Skinner with Solid Waste. I'm the manager out there at that division. And I'm here to speak about Resolution 17-216. This resolution calls for the Board of County Commissioners to approve and sign the third amended interlocal agreement regarding Centralia landfill closure. And as we all know, the landfill was declared a Superfund site back in 1992, and it was closed in 94. And the cities within the county and Centralia, Chehalis, Morton, Mossy Rock, Vader, and the town of PL are all part of that Centralia landfill closure group. There was principal liable parties that had been disposing of waste in that landfill for years were all named along with Lewis County, and the disposal district was formed. And basically, the disposal district right now is the sole funding source for that landfill closure group. Some of the city, about a year ago, the city came to us, some of their employees were retiring, and they wanted Lewis County or the district to fund that and be the operating agent. So we have went through all the asset agreements taken care of. This third interlocal is now been signed by all of the cities. This will be the last step, and everything will be final for the transfer of any funds from the city for landfill operation and a post-closure to come back to the county. So I think everything it's been a long, arduous trek, but we're finally there.
So is it my understanding then, the county will actually save money by operating it in comparison to, because of the less cost to?
Commission, and it'll save us a little bit of money. The city did a bang-up job. They were very good. But I think it helps us a little bit. We have staff right there, since the solid waste admin and operations office is right at the flare station in the landfill. We can watch things better, and I think we can do a very good job. And city's been instrumental in helping us, I guess, learn the ropes, if you will.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, Public Works Director and County Engineer. Speaking to Resolutions 17-217 and 17-218. 17-217 is the resolution to list the bids received and contractors selected for the Euler Bridge number 201 scour repair project. So this project provides for scour mitigation and protection, large woody debris placement, rock for erosion and scour protection, green gabions and gabion cribbing, and other related work, basically to help protect the bridge from scour. So the call for bids was made on June 26th of this year by Resolution 17-177. It was advertised for 3 weeks in the East County Journal, the Chronicle, and the Daily Journal of Commerce, and also listed on our website. We received 3 responsive bids for this project on July 18th, and James Co. Pro, Inc. provided the lowest responsive bid of $301,966.44. James Co. Pro is from the beautiful community of Randall. And so with this resolution, we will get them underway on this project as quickly as possible.
Can you show us a map again?
I think I have a map. Let's see here. I asked for a map. I didn't get a map. Euler Road is in the Ethel area. It's actually just what would be west of the center of Ethel, south of Highway 12. So,
Just past the big hill if you're headed east.
yes.
Yes.
Any questions about that? Resolution 17-218 is a resolution to list the bids received and the contractor selected for the 2017 debris removal project, county project number 90-17F 7002, FEMA number DR 4309. So this is debris removal from the FEMA events we had late last year and earlier this year. And it provides for the improvement of various sites in Lewis County by grinding or chipping woody debris and hauling it to a contract agency provided site and all of the related work. We only had one responsive bid. We went to bid June 26, 2017 by resolution 17-176. And we only had one responsive bid opened on July 18th of this year. And that was from Garage Brothers Incorporated. And the lowest responsive bid was $349,752.79. This was quite a bit more than our engineer's estimate. And in talking to Garage Brothers and and a couple other companies that did not bid, that confirmed this, the specifications we put in for the grinding asked for a smaller size chip than we had in the past, and that necessitated them to bid this as sort of a double grind, so they have to grind it and then grind it again. The reason why we did that was because our site that's been approved for disposal of these chips is the wastewater treatment plant for the city of Centralia, and they had some trouble with some larger chips that we had. So I don't think that's our only option for disposal of these products, so we'd like to accept the bid and move forward. If there's a cost savings to be found after we get into negotiations under the contract, that's a possibility, certainly not a guarantee. So, any questions about that?
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, a motion has been made and second to approve 6 deliberation items, resolutions number 17-213 through 17-218. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Thank you. For the good of the order.
Commissioner Stamper, do you want to talk about the discovery team that we attended last Thursday, was it?
It was Thursday, yes. It was well attended. And this, again, I believe there were 3 teams. And for those of you who don't know about the Discovery Team is a group of high school students who are selected from usually between Morton and White Pass. And they will go out and basically clear trails, do things, no power tools, I don't believe, but they do a lot of work that the Forest Service employees used to do years ago. But with the downsizing of the Forest Service, literally these young individuals are doing the work of those. Not to mention all the soft skills they're learning, because the Forest Service oversees the project, and they're very diligent in making sure that safety rules apply. For the first week, I believe, they go through a training, to make sure that all the proper techniques and lifting and all the other things that are in place. So it's an incredible program, and I believe that Commissioner Hadler was the one that originally started this. And so these are the type of programs, as I've always said, White Pass and from Mossy Rock, from Onalaska east, there's no opportunity like kids going to work at, the local fast food restaurants. So there's just not a lot of industry up there. So this provides not only an opportunity for them to save a little money, but also it gives them some excellent skill opportunities to develop those and to transition from high school into college, or also apprenticeship programs. It's a great program, and I think there were a grand total of about 28 plus 20, or maybe not that many, but they also had site leaders and of course their staff personnel with that. So they do an awesome job, and it's an incredible program. I wish we could fund more money for these types of programs. not only in the East Lewis County, but I know there would be opportunity for other places too. And I know that Pack Mountain, we got a little money out of Pack Mountain this past year, and they've got a boatload of money. So I would like to see some of that money. I sat on the board on that, so I know. I would like to see some of those types of funds for those types of programs in some of our more rural areas, not only in Lewis County, but some of the neighboring counties too that's affected by that. So we're going to make a hard push. I know SRS, Secure Rural Schools, is a big funding source for that, and right now it seems to be in question. So we're pushing our legislators real hard at the federal level to make sure that we can get that through. So we do not want to lose that valuable resource. And again, the staff, it was a great turnout. Commissioner Fund was there, along with a lot of the staff members, and community members too. So thank them.
And former Commissioner Hadler usually
And
goes
he was
every
there.
year.
He was there. He's always there, and again, I think he takes, and he should. It's one of the programs that, if anyone knows, sometimes and again, I'm not firsthand knowledge, but there's a lot of programs that do not do well, for the job market. But this is a fine example of government, private sector, and even at the federal level, working hand in hand to make good things happen. So I'm very, very proud of that program. And we plan on continuing that, whatever that looks like.
I think you and Bob Gunther have been strong advocates that we would not have had the student participation at that number if you folks hadn't been advocating for this program.
Yeah, and I think that, the whole thing on that, Bob is very good. Lee Gross is on that committee.
That's true.
And I know that all the commissioners, I know Commissioner Averill, all the commissioners have been very, very supportive of that program because they understand the dynamics of Lewis County and some of the challenges we have, but at the same time, that is a real success program. So we'd like to build on that and continue those successes for those kids and opportunity. So, thank you. Okay.
Press conference.
We'll go ahead and move through with press conference.
I just was going to say, if anybody asks us about whether we're disappointed with the capital budget and the Hearst decision, yes and yes. We're very disappointed. We were hoping that Hearst would be addressed. People have said Hearst first before there would be a capital budget. And unfortunately, Hearst didn't get a vote. And we understand from some of our legislators, they thought they had the votes in the House of Representatives. It was bipartisan, but it did not come up for a vote. And so therefore, the money that is sitting in our capital budget that would help Lewis County, including $1.5 million for Winlock and our flood authority, et cetera, it's not coming through. So we hear behind the scenes there are negotiations going on, but we are sadly disappointed that it didn't happen.
Yeah, Commissioner, this is Ron Averill from Centralia area. I want to talk to that subject too. But a couple of things beforehand. That Roundtree Road project was one that I addressed on, I think, my first term as a county commissioner. That road has been a constant problem, and of course there were only a couple homes that were past the area that was going bad. And we had a lot of trouble trying to address it because of the difficulty of the sloughing of the river and the rearrangement. And it's just interesting to me that so many years later that we're still working on Roundtree Road.
It's happening now.
The second, I understand that Commissioner Jackson is planning to do some moonlighting this week in his old place. Mr. Barno announced on his program this morning that he's going to be off for a week or two, and he's got some people sitting in. So, Bobby, looking forward to hearing your day on the program. I did want to talk to capital budget area, it really poses a huge number of problems. And as Edna and I both sit on the Flood Authority, this is the main impact, not only for our county, but Thurston and Grays Harbor County as well, because that capital budget on the Senate version had $50 million to do all of the things that we're going to do. Probably the worst problem that we have is that we kind of changed the arrangement through legislation when we formed the Office of the Chehalis Basin in the Department of Ecology. Unfortunately, the funding for that office was in the capital budget. And so I know that Jim Kramer, who is advising, is really looking around, trying to figure how we can keep certain things in motion while we're waiting for a capital budget, which probably won't come until after January with a new session of the legislature, because the governor, and unless someone comes up with a solution pretty quickly, is not going to call back into session for them to sit there and argue with each other for another 30 days and have the same solution come out. We do have about somewhere between $13 and $15 million that is sitting in the small projects funding, which was rolled over, and that money is currently accessible. Of course, under normal circumstances, because they were already committed in projects, the rollover is allowed. And I know that with that much money that's sitting in there, that Jim Kramer is looking at that pot of funds, and that's going to be a decision that's going to have to be made by the advisory committee on where we go from there. So, as the small projects committee chair, some of those projects are already in motion, and contracts have been set out, and so there's. I know one of the questions that many of us have is if we steal from that pot now, will we be able to get it back?
Replenish it, yes.
And that's a real concern, obviously, to the communities that benefit from those particular projects. But as I say, if we're going to do the planning that we need to do to keep the main objectives of the Flood Authority and the ecology project of finding a solution to our flooding in the area, plus looking at aquatic species restoration. I presume that we'll be able to do a little bit of aquatic species because about $10 million is coming from federal funds, and this doesn't block the use of that money. But as I say, funding to keep the ecology staff going and to do that planning and things does have to be worked out. And I've already reported to Rob Hill that some of our money that's sitting there may be at risk, at least temporarily, while we try to find a solution to it. But this shows you the real impact that's on us here, and you know, Richard DeBolt sat on that capital budget committee, and there was a lot of money in there, not only for Flood Authority but other things in Lewis County that are not going to happen until we get by this real impasse. So it's a real challenge for all of us.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Eric Martin, Public Works Director, County Engineer, and Chehalis Basin Flood Control Zone District Administrator. Along those same lines, I have reiterate what Colonel Averill said, and have heard also from our staff contact at Department of Ecology that they are too looking at how to kind of reallocate some of the existing funds in light of the capital budget situation that we're in. Obviously, the funding that we were anticipating for our efforts in the Flood Control Zone District was also coming from that capital budget and is hopefully just waylaid, but we certainly don't anticipating getting that as timely as we thought we were. That doesn't mean that we want to stop doing what we're doing. It doesn't mean we don't want to continue to move forward. So with that said, I do want to reiterate that we are recruiting for an advisory committee for the flood control zone district. We have put those feelers out through emails and websites and through the media. I want to continue to let people know that there are important positions on that committee, and we need people. We've only gotten a couple of applications so far, and so we're looking to get people more involved in that committee. And if you know people or are interested yourself, please contact Lara Seiler in our office at Public Works there, and she can get you all the information you need to apply. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to emphasize that we have 9 positions on that committee, so we are really looking for people who are interested and could spend the time with us as we go forward on the flood control zone district. We also are accepting applications to help us and review with us the budget as we go through several days of budget reviews. And someone said about, well, why would the county want to have advisory committees? Can't they just do it on their own? Well, this is democracy. I mean, we are elected, we make decisions, but we want citizen input. We want people to tell us what they see out there. There are eyes and ears out there. And without citizen input, our decisions aren't quite as good as they could be. So we rely on citizens to give us input. We get calls on roads and permits all the time, and it's just by those kind of calls helps us do as best job as we can. So, and we are also concerned about our budget, our operating budget, and we are not the only county concerned about our operating budget. Pacific County in March, they were having to cut $500,000 from their budget. They realized they weren't going to be getting the funds, and the Chinook Observer was saying money cliff nears for county. And then Mason County recently, let's see, it is July 18th, faced with a depleting reserve balance and looming payroll expenditures, Mason County is confronting a mid-year budget cut of nearly $2 million. And the sheriff at Mason County is very concerned about that. And I know in Mason County, before we had all our tax money coming in April, in March, they were very, very close to having to borrow to meet payroll. So this is a statewide issue for counties, and we've been working hard on those unfunded mandates. Once again, I feel like a broken record, but indigent defense and our jail medical, it's really tough for us to have these kind of things that we're responsible for, but we are not given the dollars to handle it. So once again, if people would like to be involved in the budget process, please sign up, and we welcome you to sit with us as we go through the budget. Any other?
To Commissioner Fund's point, I had the opportunity to meet with Jim Walsh, who is the new representative from the 19th District, and visited him at the Capitol and then saw him again when we were up there for the WASAC training. He and I had talked a little bit about the very same thing, indigent defense, and mentioned that he wanted to draft some legislation to that effect. And so we're going to be staying in contact with each other about that, and hopefully I can lend some help to that. And for the benefit of Colonel Averill, spoiler alert, tomorrow we'll be talking with Representative Ed Orcutt about abandoned cemeteries. On Tuesday, we'll be talking with Ruth Gutierrez about Homeless Connect. And then the following Tuesday, we'll have Rob LaFontaine as we talk about countywide transit. So tune in to KELA AM 1470. Central Area. I'm not even sure I know how to operate the board anymore.
Yes, yes. Thank you for doing that. I'm sure you'll be getting other calls regarding county issues, and thank you for being there.
Sure.
Any other? Okay. Seeing no further items on our agenda, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, a motion is made second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
great day.
Yes.
You are invited to immerse yourself in the beauty of nature in all four corners of Lewis County, Washington. From our fields to your table, farms in the west share their bounty. Limitless landscapes, forests and mountains beg to be explored in the east. Fish our many rivers and lakes in the south, and discover where history and culture intersect in our twin cities. Explore it all by visiting our Facebook page and plan your next getaway at discoverlewiscounty.com. Culture, history, and adventure all come alive when you discover Lewis County.